Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the barn, where we are continuing our journey through the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Today, talking about the second installment, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Though I was really happy with the direction this film immediately went for in creating a pseudo post apocalyptic world for humans and apes to get along in, I wasn't exactly sold on the approach that this film took at first. It was just under an hour of nobody trusting nobody, blunders being made, and guns being waved, and while it was certainly wrought with tension, it was a stressful, unpleasant sort of tension because both sides and all the standout characters on both sides, except for Carver, he's just an idiot, have, they have such believable and pitiable motivations and social predicaments that the idea of conflict between them, something I knew was eventually going to come, seemed just undesirable. With the plot moving so slowly at the beginning, it was slightly agonizing to experience. However, there was enough interesting character dynamics, Caesar and Malcolm, Caesar's sons, apprehensions, Koba's stirring hatred, Maurice with everyone, but especially with Malcolm's son, and there was enough visually resplendent world building to keep the film going until Koba does the fateful deed. After that, the film blooms fully into its singularly unique, compelling, tragic, chaotic, and almost operatic identity. I think it was the only right decision the writers could have made to have the apes strike first. After the first film, we have sort of been conditioned to see the humans as the natural enemies, and what with the enormous arsenal and the testy nerves of the human colony, it seemed that the oppression of the apes would soon come. It was exactly the development the Caesar and the apes needed. A conflict, betrayal, a villain in their midst to drive home that the apes are not intrinsically better than the humans. The moment that Caesar realizes this, lying wounded in front of his son, brought low by the betrayal of his own kind and humbling himself by returning to the home he had moved on from, is a powerful moment, and what I think the entire film was leading up to. Caesar and Malcolm both realizing the worth of the other's kind and acknowledging each other as friends. On a big picture scale, the Apes trilogy is using its second installment, I think, to level the playing field between apes and humans, to set up the climax of the third act. But it does so in an explosive and poignant way. I think the flavor that this film has that most science fiction action films do not is a feeling of tragedy. Not tragedy in the sense of failure, but in the conflict and mistrust between and within the apes and humans that inevitably will lead to great strife. This film has action, drama, and heart, but each of these is given a vein of tragedy. Thankfully, it is the kind that is epic even in its laments and drives some hard-hitting questions home as the apes become smarter and stronger. Heck, not only do they talk a lot more, but by the end they were speaking in metaphor while beating the tar out of each other. It may sound odd, but that kind of thing is what I think these apes movies are made for. Another significant advancement, now I mentioned this movie is a very, very good sequel, paying homage to the past, but carrying themes over from the first installment while giving the narrative further believable direction and a wider focus. And the best thing about this widening focus is the increased inclusion of who is, in my opinion, the best character in the series, Maurice. Now, Maurice already has the advantage of being an orangutan, which is just one of my favorite of the animals, and such a cool creature, is somehow cuddly and imposing at the same time, but he also gets the singular honor of being that character who's the good friend to the main characters. And since not as much attention is on him, he's a supporting role, he's not tarnished by a lesson needing to be learned or a flaw to correct. He's just pure awesome. When he turns his piercing eyes toward Malcolm's family and utters his one word in the film, run, I got chills. He's just a peaceful, understanding presence, and he's the only one who gets along with both sides. Something I wish could have happened for everyone, and when he had to, he grabbed that ape and he showed him what's what. I love that kind of character. I was genuinely concerned when he got shot, but was relieved to see he just shook it off like the incredible AP is. Such great stuff. Okay, I got a little bit distracted there. The movie was quite excellent, and Maurice just made it better.